Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast, where we discuss the latest news in the world of soccer, including the top games and competitions from all around the world. My name is Ben.
My name is Alex.
And we are back here on a Monday, like always, just after the weekend. We had a crazy, crazy week of football around the world, and that is what we're here to talk about on this podcast. We're going to start off the show talking about Champions League Matchday 4. A lot of great games. We had a few clubs promoting themselves into the knockout stages, the round of 16, although there's still a couple of games left. Talk about who those teams are and where they stand in their respective groups, as well as teams who had maybe not so good of performances and need to work their way into the knockout stage in the last two games. In the second segment, we're going to talk about the top results from all around the world. A lot of Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga. We had the MLS playoffs. We had the conference semifinals this past weekend, the second leg, I should say. So now we have our conference finals coming up this week. We'll talk about that. And to end the show, we have the 23-man shortlist for the FIFA Best Player of the Year award. An award I talked about last week that kind of broke on Monday, how FIFA had split with the Ballon d'Or. Now that's part of UEFA, so they split with that. So they have their own award now, and we have some different names, at least a few different names that are not on the 30-man shortlist for the Ballon d'Or that are on the FIFA Best Player of the Year award. So we'll talk about that list. A lot of the same names, but a few differences. We'll talk about who is on that list and who has a real chance of winning that list, and who will be sort of on the 3-man shortlist come December 2nd. So with that being said, let's get into the show.
Let's get into the show, and we're going to start with the games from this past week in the Premier League. I'm sorry, not the Premier League, Champions League. You did Tuesday last week, so I'm going to start with Tuesday. And I'm going to talk to you about some games. We had Besiktas playing Napoli. They drew at 1-1. Atletico Madrid defeats FC Rostov 2-1. PSG defeats FC Basel 2-1. Arsenal defeats Ludogorets 3-2. Man City over Barcelona, a surprising one for me, at least there, 3-1. Borussia Mönchengladbach and Celtic draw at 1-1. Benfica defeats Dinamo Kiev 1-0. Bayern Munich defeats PSV Eindhoven 2-1. And that's how it shaped out on Tuesday.
And I will take care of Wednesday's game. So Wednesday we had Monaco defeat CSKA Moscow 3-0. We had Bayer Leverkusen winning at Wembley Stadium against Tottenham 1-0. We had Dortmund getting a 1-0 victory over Sporting Lisbon. Juventus and Lyon get a 1-1 draw. Probably the most surprising result of the day is Legia Warsaw and Real Madrid draw 3-3 over in Poland. A game, Alex, where not one fan was in attendance.
Yeah, nobody showed up.
Well, I mean, they couldn't because of they had like some antics go on during the weekend, so they didn't let anyone in the stadium. But it was weird. I wasn't watching the game, but I saw the highlights.
And it's literally eerily empty.
An empty stadium. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
you know
it was
really
like
weird.
It would be weird for like a team, I suppose. I mean, there's some of those players Aspie that kind of draw from the crowd or something.
Right.
And yeah, it was empty. It was like that. There was a baseball game earlier this year that had to be played like again the next day or whatever in the morning or something, and there was just nobody there because they didn't open it to the public or something like that. It was really weird, but it was eerily empty.
Yeah, but then, so going on with the results now, Leicester City go to Denmark and getting a 0-0 draw against Copenhagen. Sevilla with a very convincing 4-0 victory over Dinamo Zagreb. And Porto defeat Club Brugge 1-0 for Wednesday. So now let's talk about some of these analysis here. So on Tuesday, the big result here is Manchester City defeat Barcelona 3-1 in the reverse game over in Manchester. They get 2 goals from Ilkay Gundogan and then a absolutely fantastic free kick from the Belgian midfielder Kevin De Bruyne. So Pep Guardiola goes in and defeats Barcelona, his old team that he used to manage. really convincingly, and now they have sort of a little bit of a gap here between top place Barcelona. If Barcelona had won, they would have advanced into the knockout stage, which I'm sure they will do with their next couple of games. They're going to be playing Mönchengladbach and Celtic, so two games they should be able to handle. But definitely Man City staying close and still giving them a shot to top the group.
Yeah, I was surprised at this outcome, honestly. I mean, Man City's a good team. They really are. But I don't ever really look at a lot of the Premier League teams. They're quite on the same level as, say, Barcelona or Real Madrid. So I'm not surprised that they won. Anybody can beat anybody. We've seen it before in that sense in any sport, really. But I'm more surprised at the score of this one. Personally, with a 3-1, I didn't expect it to be that high of a score. Maybe 1-0, maybe 1-1 draw. I didn't expect them to get 3 on them. So
it was a good result for Pep's men. They fell down 1-0. Messi scored for Barcelona to start off the game, and then they scored the next 3 goals. So a good result for Pep and his boys. I think it was more of not necessarily a statement win, but an impressive win because of their recent drop in form the last few weeks. They won against West Brom 4-0 that weekend prior, but before that they had a streak of 6 games in a row where they did not win. They either lost or got a draw. So then they win against West Brom, then a convincing win against Barcelona. So I think it was a good, impressive win for Pep's guys.
Yeah, and we'll get into it a little deeper here in a minute, but as it stands for their group and their Group C, I mean, Barcelona's still there in the first spot, but Man City definitely helped themselves out. They both currently are at 1-2, 9-7, respectively, in the points there in Group C.
And they both haven't clinched advancements into the knockout stage, but they still sit very, very well in Group C.
We'll talk about their standings in a minute, but I mean, they look to be the ones to advance pretty heavily, I would say.
Definitely. And then another good result is Arsenal against Ludogorets. Ludogorets actually jumped out to a 2-0 victory within 15 minutes over the English, Premier top team. So they jumped out with a 2-0 victory or lead within 15 minutes. Arsenal get 2 goals right before the break, and then literally, the goal of the Champions League so far is scored in the 89th minute from the German midfielder Mesut Ozil.
My boy.
That's my boy, okay?
I'm a fan of his international performances, okay?
Okay, but as far as everything, that's my boy. So
whatever.
Stay away.
Get out of my face.
Stay away from my boy. But anyways, Mesut Ozil with the goal, literally, of the Champions League so far. He gets a through ball from Mohamed El-Neni, goes over the back line of the defense. He chips the keeper. He dribbles around 2 defenders to just slot it home for an open net and give Arsenal the victory, a 3-2 win, which actually clinches them into the round of 16, as well as PSG, Paris Saint-Germain get a 2-1 victory over FC Basel. They get an absolutely nasty volley from outside the box from Mounier, their right fullback, to win them the game in the 90th minute. So both teams with 10 points now advancing in Group A. So it really is going to come down to these last 2 games. Arsenal will be playing Basel. PSG will be playing Ludogorets, and they have the head-to-head in England at the Emirates Stadium. That's really going to decide who comes out in first and second in this group, which is really important. You want to face a team that's second in their respective group, not have to face a group winner. So
it's very true. Now we're going to look at the groups as they stand. Group A, Arsenal and PSG both 10 points there, 1 and 2 respectively, and then after beating Ludogorets, as you said, they're sitting third. They only have 1 point. Obviously, they're done.
Well, yeah, Arsenal and PSG did advance, so it kind of...
Obviously, as you said, they're done. So.
Now it's just a matter of how these 2 teams do in their last 2 games to see who will win the group. And as I mentioned, it's very important. So
yeah, it's very, very, very true. You want to get out of there as a winner. Napoli and Benfica both sit at the top of their groups, 1 and 2, as I read them. 7 and 7 points there for them. But Besiktas is right behind them with 6. So the last few games for them are really going to help decide who wins this one. It's going to be close, I imagine. As it stands. I mean, we look at week 5 and that we have a couple weeks off in between. We have nothing this week.
Yeah, we're on an international break this week, so we have a couple of weeks until Matchday 5 in the Champions League.
But Besiktas and Benfica do play the following week, so when that occurs, somebody will definitely help themselves out. We look at Group C, and as I mentioned, Barcelona, Man City, and then Mönchengladbach right behind them at 4. Group D, we have Atletico Madrid in first place there at 12 points. Bayern Munich following them at 9. Obviously, that one's decided in terms of moving on.
Yeah, these
PSV
2 teams
have an FC Rostov both with 1 point.
These 2 teams have both clinched their way into the round of 16, but Atletico Madrid definitely have the edge with the head-to-head victory over Bayern.
Yes,
as it stands. So they sit at top 12 right now, and we'll have to see if they can hold on in top Group D or if Bayern Munich, the German powerhouse can overcome them. They have a matchup going up pretty soon against Atletico Madrid, so they can win that game. They definitely have the goal differential right now. It's just a matter of points. So
we look at Group E, and this looks like a multiplication table. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 in terms of the points. Monaco sits at top of the table at 8. Bayer Leverkusen at 6. Tottenham there with 4. And CSKA Moscow with 2.
I've been definitely really disappointed by Tottenham's placing, which obviously I'm not disappointed because I am an Arsenal fan, so I'm happy to see them currently not advancing. But for Tottenham, if you're a supporter, you have to be really disappointed because they really have the strongest team in this group, but yet they're just not playing well. They've lost 2 home games at the new Wembley Stadium in the Champions League. They're not playing well. Their game on Wednesday against Bayer Leverkusen, although it was just a 1-0 defeat, they looked totally out of the game and did not produce anything going offensively. They're playing really, really poor right now. They need to make up some room. They sit with 4 points. They're 4 points back of Monaco, who are playing like the best team in this group right now. So I got to imagine Monaco will advance. And then it comes down to Bayer Leverkusen and Tottenham, which is a team, Bayer Leverkusen, that just beat Tottenham in Matchday 3. They had a 0-0 draw, which Leverkusen probably should have won also. So it's going to come down to how Tottenham play against Moscow and Monaco to see if they can really push their way forward. They do have Harry Kane back. He played in the North London derby yesterday, and he got a goal. So maybe he can be that missing piece to push them forward in the Champions League. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see how they move forward from that one. We have Group F. Borussia Dortmund at the top of this one with 10 points. Real Madrid behind them with 8. Then you drop to Sporting with 3 and Legia Warsaw at 1. So we know is advancing in this one.
Yeah, definitely. Dortmund have already clinched their spot, sitting atop with 10 points now. Madrid with the really disappointing draw against Legia Warsaw. I think Real Madrid are still going to advance. I mean, they have a 5-point lead over Sporting right now. Still have a game against them. They're gonna advance.
Oh yeah.
But 2 points dropped against Dortmund is huge. The only chance they have to really win the group now is if they can beat Borussia Dortmund. The game is going to be in Spain, so they do have that advantage there. But it's going to be a really important win if they can get to that top spot. Either way, whoever in the round of 16 draws one of these 2 teams from Group F is surely going to be disappointed because both these teams are even capable of getting into the quarterfinal, semifinal, getting towards the victory in the Champions League. So
yeah, definitely look at it that way. Group G, as it sits, we have Leicester City, who is playing absolutely opposite of their Premier League status as it stands. In first place, there were 10 points, even though coming off of a loss this past week. Porto in second there with 7, Copenhagen at 5, and Club Brugge just bruising it up with 0 points.
Leicester City still sit in the very, very impressive spot with 10 points now. A victory over Copenhagen last week would have advanced them through to the knockout stages. But with 2 points with 2 games left, all they need is a few points, and they will advance. And I think they will. Club Brugge is a game they still have to play, and they should be able to beat them with 0 points for now. They lost all 4 of their games. Porto is probably the team I would give the other edge to in the advancing. So over Copenhagen, I think they're just a better side. Know more about them. Portuguese league's better than the league from Denmark. So I think Leicester and Porto will advance from Group G. And then as we move on to Group H, this is another group that is still really undecided. Sevilla sit top with 10, Juventus with 8, and then Lyon with 4. And Dinamo Zagreb are out with 0 points, but they're still going to be fighting for pride and everything from Croatia and everything. So Sevilla looked like probably the most impressive team right now, which is surprising when you're looking at a team like Juventus, a team that was in the Champions League final 2 years ago, but a lot different of a team now. I'd still give the edge to Juve to advance along with Sevilla right now over Lyon, but they're still fighting and they're still technically eligible to advance, so they're going to be trying their best as well.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how some of these closer groups come down to in the next couple weeks in terms of advancing. You know, it's pretty close in a lot of these groups as we look at it as it stands now. But as it stands now, we're going to take our first break. Am I correct there, Ben?
You are correct, my friend.
We're going to come back and we are going to talk Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, MLS. We're going to talk it all here in just a moment at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concept Soccer Podcast, and we're going to talk Premier League action from this past weekend. Ben, kick us off with some Saturday action there.
So Man City got a very disappointing 1-1 draw against Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough even it in the 90th minute to earn the draw. Good point for Borough. You got to look at it as 2 points drop for City, a home game, trying to fight near the top of the Premier League. Not doing too well. West Ham and Stoke get a 1-1 draw, a very unentertaining game for the most part. Burnley get a surprise 3-2 victory over Crystal Palace, where they score in the 90th minute to win the game. Sunderland get their first win of the season and the first win for David Moyes, a 2-1 victory over Bournemouth. Chelsea, the floodgates continue to open against Everton, a 5-0 victory. Since Antonio Conte, after that Arsenal game, has switched to a 3-4-3 formation, Chelsea are unbeaten and have not given up a goal. They're playing exceptionally well. Eden Hazard with 2 goals. Diego Costa keeps banging in goals. They're playing absolutely fantastic. And a 5-0 victory over Everton, a team that's currently 7th in the table. You would imagine seeing that result, you wouldn't be like, wow, 5-0. Like, you wouldn't think that would happen. But Chelsea get it done. They continue to play lights out.
Yeah, they're playing great.
Moving on to Sunday, the North London derby, we see a 1-1 draw, Arsenal and Tottenham.
Arsenal get disappointing for you.
Arsenal get an own goal from Kevin Wimmer right before halftime. So Tottenham actually scored both goals in this game, but yet they get a draw against Arsenal. So typical Tottenham thing.
Tough win, tough loss.
Definitely. And then you look at in the 51st minute, Harry Kane gets a penalty to score for Tottenham. His first game back since September 18th with like an ankle injury. So you could tell he was rusty. He missed a couple of chances. He had to leave early in the game. He got subbed out for fitness issues, so he's still trying to work his way back. But a huge point for Tottenham, and I think a better point for Tottenham with the amount of injuries they had. Dele Alli's out, Toby Alderweireld is out, Eric Lamela is out, Moussa Sissoko is still serving his ban. This was his last game of his 3-game suspension. So they actually switched to a Chelsea-esque 3-4-3 formation as well, with 3 central defenders, 2 midfielders, and then they used their fullbacks, Danny Rose and Kyle Walker, more as midfielders, with Son, Eriksen, and Kane up top. So it worked out. They got a 1-1 draw. I think it's a fair result. Both teams had chances. Both teams missed some chances, had some balls go off the post and the crossbar. So I guess a 1-1 is a fair result. But Arsenal probably should have won this game.
Yeah, I'd say with an own goal. You never want that. And Arsenal probably played as the better team throughout the rest of the game after that. And it's disappointing that you draw like that. You don't want to draw to Tottenham. And we'll look at where Arsenal sits in the table in a minute here once we get through the rest of these scores.
So Hull City get a 2-1 victory over Southampton, a game where they actually trailed 1-0 and then they get the next 2 goals. A big win for Hull City as they're sitting near the bottom of the table trying to avoid relegation, which they were just down in the championship last year. So Liverpool continue to fly high. 6-1 victory over Watford. They now sit top of the league with their victory. Manchester United finally get off the schneid. Jose Mourinho having to watch from the stands as his team just really been playing really poor lately. Paul Pogba hits a nasty volley from outside the box.
You can say that again.
And then
Paul Pogba hit a nasty volley from outside the box.
And then Zlatan Ibrahimovic gets a brace. His first goal in his last 11 games.
After starting very strong.
Starting very strong. You could see maybe that his age is getting the best of him, but 2 goals, a great performance yesterday. But he did pick up his 5th yellow card of the season. That means he will have to miss their next game. And who's it against, Alex? But a home game against Arsenal. So not having Zlatan, not having Ibra against Arsenal, definitely tough to overcome. We'll have to see how that is in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely big for them.
And then West Brom get a 2-1 victory over Leicester City. This is Leicester's first home loss since September of last year.
Yeah, they've been playing lights out at home. Unfortunately, Leicester City's currently sitting 14th on the table. They're not playing so great on the road, so with only 12 points there. But then again, I mean, you look at it, you have from 9 all the way to about 17, a difference in about 4 points roughly. 15 to 10 is the difference between the 8th spot all the way down to the 18th spot. So, I mean, there's a lot of teams with very close. You could win one game and all of a sudden jump up here depending on the points you get. But
and I think
definitely
that really
disappointing after winning the table.
I think that really bodes to just how competitive this league is. I mean, it seems like every week we see 1, 2, 3 results that kind of shock us or you wouldn't really expect. And I think that's because of just how competitive the league is. Burnley was just relegated 2 years ago, spent last year in the championship, and now they sit at 9th. Watford was in the championship 2 years ago. They sit at 8th. So, I mean, it really bodes well. But as I mentioned, we look at the table. We have a new number 1.
Yes,
and
we
that
do.
is Liverpool with their 6-1 victory. Man City and Arsenal both dropped points with their draws. So Liverpool are now on top of the table. And they're just flying high. 6 goals, as I mentioned, 2 from Sadio Mane. Philippe Coutinho continues to play absolutely fantastic on that left side. They've scored 30 goals in the league, which is 4 more than any other team. Yeah,
they're playing just lights out. They're currently at the top of the table, 26. Chelsea right behind them, 25. Man City 24, as well as Arsenal. So that top 4 there are very, very tight. Followed by Tottenham with 21, and then Man City and Everton at 18. So those top 7 spots, very, very, very close.
I hate to tell you, buddy, but I really think that the winner of the league, I realize we're 11 games in, so we're just a little more than a quarter of the way done. But I really think that the winner of this league is coming out of the top 5.
Oh, I guarantee it. Yeah, I would say if not the top 4, Tottenham is really starting to hurt themselves lately. But I would say definitely Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, or Arsenal are going to get away with this one, if not Tottenham with a strong finish. Man United didn't start strong enough to really be. I mean, they're playing well. They're not going to get regulated this year, that's what you want in your first year after getting regulated. You want to not have that happen again. So at least there's kind of a win there for them in that sense. But yeah, I think you're right about that. It hurts, but they
sit with only 8 points back of the top. I really think that's maybe too much to overcome because of the success that some of these teams have been having lately. I mean, you look at Tottenham; they're still the only unbeaten team in the Premier League, but yet they sit 5 points back at the top because they just keep drawing. Their 4th consecutive draw.
Yeah, they have
in
6.
league. Yeah, 5 wins, 6 draws. Liverpool are flying high, but you know what? I think the team that's playing the best right now is honestly Chelsea.
Yeah, they've been on a tear lately. I think Chelsea, for sure, in all aspects, is playing the strongest.
Since Antonio Conte, the Chelsea manager, switched to that 3-4-3 formation, they are playing absolutely fantastic. Eden Hazard's in more of a attacking role as opposed to a midfielder, and he's playing absolutely fantastic. He probably looks like the best player in the league right now, everything he's creating over on that left-hand side. Diego Costa, whether you like him or not, which I don't, he's still a fantastic player, and he's banging in goals. He sits at the top in scoring right now with 9 goals of the Premier League, so if the season were to end right now, he'd be the Golden Boot winner. So, I mean, they're playing absolutely fantastic, and if it isn't broken, don't fix it. This 3-4-3 formation is excelling for them, and they're going to stay in it, and they're playing absolutely fantastic. So I guess you got to give credit where credit is due. 1 point back of Liverpool. Although they do have a couple of losses, they look like the best team in the league right now in my eyes. They're playing fantastic.
Yeah, they're definitely playing like it. And if they keep it up like that, I very well could see them winning this one. Let's move to the Bundesliga. And we had games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We had one game on Friday, Hertha BSC defeating Mönchengladbach, as a matter of fact, Borussia Mönchengladbach 3-0. A tough loss for them there. Moving to Saturday, where the majority of the games occurred, Borussia Dortmund defeats Hamburg 5-2. Bayern Munich and Hoffenheim draw 1-1. Bayer Leverkusen 3-2 over Darmstadt. FC Augsburg 2-0 over Ingolstadt. Wolfsburg 3-0 over SC Freiburg. Eintracht over FC Cologne 1-0. And then you move to Sunday, we had Leipzig 3-1 over Mainz and Schalke over Werder Bremen 3-1.
Big results here from Dortmund, a 5-2 victory over Hamburger. You had 4 goals from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the Gabon international. He scored a hat trick within the first 28 minutes. He added a goal. He added an assist, so he contributed to all 5 goals. A standout performance from Aubameyang. Bayern Munich get a draw against Hoffenheim, so both teams do remain unbeaten in the league, but a 1-1 draw. I guess you can say it kind of opens the door, but RB Leipzig, we continue to talk about the Red Bulls of Leipzig. A 3-1 victory over Mainz. They actually sit joint top of the table with the German powerhouse Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
to think that this team is only its first year ever in the Germany top flight, the Bundesliga. This team was only around 7 years ago. To think that they're playing as well as Bayern Munich is absolutely astonishing. Maybe we're looking at like a Leicester City 2.0. I think that'd be even more of a stretch than Leicester City did last year because they're battling Bayern Munich are, I think, better than any team in England. But I realize they're 10 games through.
Yeah.
We still have a long way to go.
But look at how it is right now. They're both 7-3, no losses, so 7 wins, 3 draws, 24-20 in goals for, 6-8 for goals against. Differential is 18-3, and they're both sitting at 24 points. That's pretty good for a team that is as new as them, playing as good as the powerhouse.
It's
Bayern
definitely
Munich has been for so long.
It's definitely a surprise, and it's their defense that's doing it. You mentioned only giving up 7 goals, which is tied for second best in the league, only behind Bayern Munich, which is giving up 6. So only 1 less goal. That's how they're doing it, and they're winning a lot of games. And you got to give them credit where credit is due. We'll have to wait and see how as the season progresses. I think they're a shoo-in to stay top. You look at the last 3 is Werder with 7, Ingolstadt with 2, and Hamburg with 2. So they're still flying really high. They've got 17 and 22 points over those top 3, or bottom 3, I should say. So they're going to stay near the top, but it's how long can they keep it up? That's what it is for me.
Interesting
how long
if
can
they
they
can
keep this up?
really be consistent at it. Because one would assume Bayern will, but can this new group, can they be the ones to do it? So that's gonna be the interesting part.
Definitely, I definitely agree. But kudos to Red Bull Leipzig. They are playing absolutely fantastic. And they continue yet again week by week to impress.
I like it. And the rest of the table as it sits currently, we have Hoffenheim at 3, Hertha BSC at 20. They're the 4 there, so both 20 points for the 3 and 4 spots. Borussia Dortmund, FC Cologne, and Eintracht all with 18, going from 5, 6 to 7. Moving to La Liga, we had some matches this weekend as well for La Liga. Only on Sunday, though.
We have Friday, Saturday, Sunday for La Liga.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Friday, Saturday.
Sunday was the best. Games.
Sunday was the best. So yeah, sorry.
Sunday was definitely the best.
A group of them. So Malaga defeats Sporting 3-2. We moved to Saturday. We had Granada and Deportiva 1-1 draw. Osasuna loses to Alaves 1-0. Real Sociedad surprisingly defeats Atletico Madrid 2-0. And Las Palmas defeats Eibar 1-0. And then like we mentioned, the probably the best in terms of the competitions, because you have the 2 premier teams on that list on Sunday. We had Real Madrid defeating Leganes 3-0. Celta Vigo over Valencia 2-1. Espanyol and Athletic Bilbao drew at 0-0. Villarreal 2-0 over Real Betis. And Barcelona wins 2-1 over Sevilla.
Definitely the big one here is Real Sociedad defeating Atletico Madrid 2-0. A result you don't normally see.
No, that surprised me.
From Atleti. A 2-0 loss against a team like Real Sociedad. So they dropped points. Real Madrid with a 3-0 victory over Leganes. We had a brace from Gareth Bale. So they stay top, which is really important. And then the matchup of the weekend was definitely Barcelona and Sevilla. So Barcelona just gutted out a magical performance from Lionel Messi. He contributed to Luis Suarez's goal, which won them the game in about the 61st minute. So that was really important for them to keep up the pace with Madrid. They won, so they have to win as well. And then Sevilla, a team who are playing exceptional this year, they gave Atletico Madrid their first loss of the season. So now with the loss, they actually sit tied in 4th with them with 21 points. So Madrid are top with 27, Barcelona with 25. Villarreal are still competing. They sit in 3rd with 22 points, 5 off the lead. And then Atletico Madrid and Sevilla with 21. So Sociedad still staying up there. They're 6th. So I guess you could say that result against Atletico Madrid was not a fluke. They're still playing really well, but definitely Atletico Madrid, a side that should have won with how good of a defense they have to give up those 2 goals. Not really be in the game at all. Definitely a bad result.
Yeah, and like always, Real Madrid, Barcelona sitting at 1-2. Like always. Usually, though, Atletico is 3 there, but we have Villarreal moving up there. So it'll be interesting to see how this shapes out the rest of the year in La Liga. Now, to end this last bit of game recaps before we get to our 3rd segment, our last break here, we're talking MLS, and we are talking some playoff soccer, Ben.
Yes, definitely. We had the conference semifinals, the first and second leg. I talked about the first leg last week.
Yes.
So we'll talk about the second leg here. So the Sounders actually lose to FC Dallas 2-1 in the second leg, but yet they win 4-2 on aggregate. The Sounders, a team that barely even made its way into the playoffs, they're now in the conference finals yet again. Nicolas Lodero has been playing absolutely fantastic for Seattle since they made that trade right during the All-Star break, which we were actually there. We talked to Clint Dempsey a little bit, but they were playing absolutely fantastic ever since bringing in Nicolas Lodero, and they defeat FC Dallas in the two leg, by 2. They actually had the most points of any team at all this season, FC Dallas. So a big result for the Sounders. We had the Colorado Rapids and LA Galaxy. the Galaxy won the first leg 1-0, but Colorado won the second leg 1-0, so that means we actually go to penalty kicks tied at 1-1 because neither team could score in extra time.
Yep.
Tim Howard for Colorado makes 2 saves.
I know that name.
I think if you're a fan of U.S. soccer, you probably heard of him.
Yeah, if you've heard of him, maybe.
Maybe Everton as well, but he makes 2 saves in the penalty kick shootout, so they win that 3-1. You got to give the edge to Howard in the penalty kicks. And he obviously contributed. They win, so now they will face Seattle in the Western Conference Finals. I will give the edge to Colorado.
Okay. Yeah, Colorado's been playing pretty lights out, and Seattle, I think I would give it to him. I think I would. In my opinion, at least.
Seattle's been playing great, especially in the second half, and they have the momentum going for them, beating Dallas. But I think Colorado's just a better team, more experience, goalkeeper edge. So I'll give the edge to the Rapids. They've been so good defensively all year long.
And who have you given the edge to in Montreal? Toronto FC.
Yeah, so when we look at the Eastern Conference, Montreal with a 1-0 victory in the first leg over the New York Red Bulls, and then a 2-1 victory in the second leg. So they have a 3-1 edge to top the Red Bulls, who are the top seed in the Eastern Conference. And then on the other side, we had New York City FC get absolutely destroyed yesterday by Toronto FC 5-0. They win both legs 7-0 combined. We had a hat trick from Sebastian Giovinco.
In the playoffs, nonetheless. Like, that's when you need it.
He's the MLS Player of the Year running for 2 years now. He's by far the best player in the league. I will give the edge to Toronto over Montreal in the Battle of Canada, I guess you could call it that. But honestly, I'll give the edge to Toronto FC over any team. I think they're going to win the MLS Cup. They have the best player in Sebastian Giovinco. I guess you can call him the MLS version of Messi. I mean, I guess that's a really harsh comparison.
Yeah.
That's a really harsh comparison. But just in regards of what he means to Toronto, when they missed him for a couple of months, that's why they fell to the 3 seed in the East. If they had Giovinco playing all year long, I think they would have been ahead of New York City FC or the Red Bulls. So I guess you can kind of say just how important he is to the team, what he means to the team, the chances he creates, the goals he creates, just what he does with the ball. I guess you can compare it to Messi for Barcelona, what he's done for Argentina. So honestly, I'll give the edge to Toronto over Montreal and whomever comes out of the West, whether it be Seattle or Colorado. I like Toronto FC. Sebastian Giovinco, the magical little Italian. We saw him in San Jose.
We did. He was pretty little.
He's just such a fantastic player. He means so much to the team. He had 5 goals combined. He's just a beast.
Yeah, so I might agree with you on that with Toronto FC. They're playing pretty strong, and I think I agree with you. I think that's going to be more of a for sure kind of outcome than Seattle, Colorado. But I think we're going to have to see and wait how it finds out. You know,
the big thing here is that with the exception of Colorado, we had the top 2 seeds in both these brackets lose. So we had the top seed in the West and the top 2 in the East lose. So only Colorado, which got that bye week, advanced into the conference finals, which is kind of surprising, you know.
Mm-hmm. Definitely surprising. So I mean, it's coming down to the tights, you know, right now, and we'll see how it shapes out. But of course, next Monday we will have much more information for you on that when we get there, because we have games going through Wednesday next week as well. So by at least this weekend, we'll have some previews for you heading into the first game, which will be on Tuesday next week. But let's take our last break. We'll come back and we will talk your wonderful list that I can't wait to hear.
Well, it's not my list. It's FIFA's list.
It's your list.
I didn't create it. If it was my list, it'd have 3 players on it and not 23.
Very true. We'll take our last break and we will get to the 23-man list that FIFA put out in just a moment here at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. Jordan and Keith is Entertainment Tonight meets Access Hollywood.
I'm Jordan. The guy laughing, that's Keith.
Yeah, I'm Keith.
An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. It's time to look at the 23 candidates of FIFA's Man of the Year Award 2016. The 23-man, as I put my air quotes up, short list, as they call it.
Because you don't think it's that short of a list.
23, that's not short. That's
it's shorter than the Ballon d'Or list, which is 30.
Yeah, I mean, by 7. At least they don't call it a short Ballon
all
d'Or.
7 of them count, okay?
Fair enough. I mean, they have some great names here. So there's left and right on my screen of candidates.
And that doesn't mean anything.
I know, but I'm saying in terms of reading.
Oh,
do you have the same thing?
Yeah, you're looking at the tweet, the best.
Yeah, so would you like to do left
best
and I'll do the right?
Nothing's going to ever keep you down. Okay, you're doing the left and
I'll do the right.
Okay, so I'm doing the left. So a lot of these names on the list similar to the Ballon d'Or, but we do have a couple that are different. So Sergio Aguero of Argentina and Manchester City Gareth Bale of Wales and Real Madrid, the legendary Italian keeper Gianluigi Buffon of Juventus and Italy, Cristiano Ronaldo of Portugal and Real Madrid, Kevin De Bruyne of Belgium and Manchester City, Antoine Griezmann of France and Atletico Madrid, Zlatan Ibrahimovic of Sweden and now Manchester United, but former PSG. So both of these teams are going to be taken into consideration because it's of this whole year. So Andres Iniesta of Spain and of Barcelona, N'Golo Kante of France and Leicester City and Chelsea, Toni Kroos of Germany and Real Madrid, Robert Lewandowski of Poland and Bayern Munich, and then the PFA reigning player of the year from Algeria, Riyad Mahrez for Leicester City.
And then we look at, the right side of this list. Again, it's just more players. I believe there's nothing even, I think, it's not like it's in alphabetical order or anything. It's just a list. Lionel Messi of Argentina and, of course, Barcelona. We have Luka Modric from Croatia.
And Real Madrid.
You'll do the teams for me because I know where they are nationally usually. Manuel Neuer of German international fame, and of course my lovely faves,
Bayern Munich.
Neymar, everybody knows Neymar from Brazil
and Barcelona.
Mesut Ozil from Germany for Arsenal.
Yes.
Ben's shaken. Dimitri Payet of France
and West Ham.
Paul Pogba of France and Manchester United.
And Juventus. Don't short him on Juventus.
Yeah. Sergio Ramos of Spain.
And Real Madrid.
Alexis Sanchez of Chile.
And Arsenal.
Luis Suarez of Uruguay.
Yes, and Barcelona.
And Jamie Vardy of England.
And Leicester.
And Leicester City.
So a couple of names different here is Mesut Ozil and Alexis Sanchez, the two Arsenal teammates who were actually left out of the 30-man shortlist for the Ballon d'Or. So it's great to see Ozil and Sanchez on this shortlist, although I don't think they have much of a chance. It's great to see them on here. It is a little different how FIFA do it. They do allow some fans and journalists to vote, so maybe you have a little bit of an influence there. Ozil is one of the most popular footballers around the world. So I love
Mesut Ozil.
So I think that will give him a little bit of an edge. I doubt he will be named to the 3-man shortlist on December 2nd. Obviously, you have to think that Ronaldo and Messi will be on there.
Yeah.
And then I think it becomes kind of a toss-up here. I could see Antoine Griezmann with his success with France in the Euros up there, as well as Atleti. Runners-up in both those competitions for Champions League and for the Euros. So I think Griezmann's a good shot to be up there. I think Bale is a possibility to be up there with the success he had with Wales in the Euros and winning the Champions League final with Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos, Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, and Real Madrid. So I think he has a good shot to be up there too. Apart from that, I really don't think any of these other guys have a really serious case. I mean, I guess you can maybe say Neymar or Suarez, possibly Suarez, but I think it'll probably go with Griezmann, Ronaldo, and Messi.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with you on there. I mean, I don't think a lot of these guys, as great as they are, have a chance against some of those players. So I have to agree with you.
And that list will be announced on December 2nd. So we also have the 10-man shortlist for the Coach of the Year award. So some of the favorites is definitely Leicester City's Claudio Ranieri. Everything he did with Leicester last year, I think he's probably the front runner just because of the shock Leicester had in the Premier League last year. You can also look at Portugal's Fernando Santos. Kind of a shock that they won the Euros. Although they have Cristiano Ronaldo, Portugal was not looked at as a team that could really seriously compete for the European Championship. And then you have Real Madrid's Zinedine Zidane, who came in midway through the season and helps them win the Champions League final over Atleti, their crosstown rival. So some other names on here is Barcelona's Luis Enrique, Atletico Madrid's Diego Simeone, who I actually think is the best manager in the world. Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp, how he's turned around that program, currently sitting top in the Premier League. Tottenham's Mauricio Pochettino, and former Manchester City boss, or Bayern Munich boss, and current Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola, also named on the list.
It's a good name, one of the best names in soccer. Pep.
Love it.
I love it. And his
magical Spaniard Pep.
Now, of course, next week we will be back to talk plenty of action, but we are on a break this week from Champions League, and
it's not a break from everything. We just have international. It's an international break. So maybe if we have any international storylines, maybe some injuries like we had last time, we'll have to talk about them here on the GSMC Soccer Podcast. But other than that, we'll obviously just be previewing some more things for the weekend after when they return to play.
Yeah, and of course, until then, we are done. So we are taking a 7-day break. We'll be back on Monday to talk all of this wonderful soccer and football, which you all love so much. But until then, we are out. Thank you so much for listening to our show. As always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and check out all the other wonderful shows on our network. But until next Monday, I am Alex.
My name is Ben.
We will see you guys next time, and enjoy your soccer or football, wherever you live, whatever you call it. Enjoy it and love it. We'll see you guys next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.